people, Deluded, I'm back again, here to speak about a couple Arsenal points. The first one is, I wouldn't say it's humble pie, but it's important in life to understand you don't get everything right. And I always tell you, look, I have my opinion. If you can change my opinion, or if a player can change my mind, I'll accept it. And Leno has changed my opinion. Obviously, many people will laugh now, and they deserve to laugh. Kepa and Leno, if you was to compare both of them at Athletic Bilbao, I believe, and at Leverkusen, you'd probably have Kepa as a slightly better keeper. And I did have Kepa as a slightly better keeper, and obviously since he's been in the Premier League he's been woeful. Leno's gone from strength to strength, and I owe Leno an apology, not for saying Kepa was better than him, but I wasn't entirely convinced with Leno, and I still have question marks. But while that was more 50% convinced in him before, I'm more, for me it's 98% really now. I really have faith in him, and I know we're improving defensively with our defence, with our centre halves and our fullbacks, but I'm really enticed to see if we can do some business in the summer, getting a quality centre half for whatever fee, you know, give Leno, obviously with Tierney coming in, Bellerin hopefully staying fit, and the improvement in defence, giving him a quality back four, including him 5 to be part of. My problems were at times he's good distributing the ball with his feet, but I think that one is still there for me. His distribution presents some issues, and I think one thing I've always said in my vids, he's always been a good shot stopper. He is a good shot stopper, but at times some of the goals we've conceded, it's always been a thing where he thought he could have got there, or he used to, you know, them ones they had poor time in collecting crosses, and you know Leno has made some mistakes this season and it's not always been perfect, last season more so, but since then he's gone from strength to strength, and he's one of the most consistent players in the Arsenal team. And like I said, I was more 50% convinced, and similar to Bellerin, I previously thought Bellerin more, it's just Bellerin now. If the team was fixed up and we had all the signings we want, I would probably be looking at right back and saying, yo, if money could be done, you know, if we couldn't get Semedo, but if Semedo, for example, was available, could you sell Bellerin and get him in? I was saying the goalkeeping situation, that I'd have Leno down as that, but I'm fully convinced in Leno, at least until he gives me something to revert back to my decision or whatever. So yeah, man, Leno's convinced me fully. They wouldn't have him down as one of the best keepers in the Prem personally before this video, obviously, or whenever he's changed my mind. Have him down as the best shot stoppers, but overall, I guess he'd be top 5, top 10 by default, but I wasn't really convinced with it. Well, I'm exaggerating with top 10, but you get the point. If I was saying the best keepers, he would have been there by default, but he's definitely one of the best performing keepers right now, and he's definitely one of the best players in the Premier League in terms of goalkeeping. It's a shame he's up there for shots faced and all them stats, because realistically, a top 6 side, we shouldn't have our man up there. It looks good for us, but it is what it is. So I still think he's a bit arrogant at times. I still think his distribution can improve, but he's really convinced me, people, really and truly. Moving away from that though, apparently Samore, now I'm pretty sure he didn't play, him and Gabriel didn't play for Lyon in their recent game that I watched yesterday. They played Marseille. I'm sure they didn't play, I could be wrong. I was half watching it, but Samore allegedly, Canal Plus, a French-based publication, is saying that he's being punished for refusing to join Newcastle last month. Why he's being punished, what form of being punished, I don't know. As you lot know, Newcastle had a £45 million euro bid plus, I believe, bonuses accepted for him, and they went on the offensive to try and get him, sent Maximilian FaceTiming him, but he weren't on it. He wants to decide his future in the summer, and you'd imagine Samore, Gabriel, who's spoken about playing in the Premier League, they're 2 players that would potentially be moved on, and they're 2 players I would love at Arsenal. I do think people sensationalise the players always linked with Arsenal and the team. Every man does it, because I think Gabriel's good and I think Samore is good, but people behave like they're world class right now, which is not the case. In the same way they do with Upamecano, they're all good players. So I would want to bring them to the club, people. So hopefully, you know, if they're forcing him out, hopefully we can start talking to our Leo people. It's a bit irrelevant and there's no need for me to really mention this, but apparently Arsenal have now given 7 players aged 20 or younger a start in the Premier League this season, 3 more than any other club. These 7 players are obviously Eddie Nketiah, who started yesterday against Newcastle, Saka, who's been a constant throughout the whole season, Emil Smith-Rowe got a start against Everton before heading to Huddersfield on loan, Martinelli, what was his first start, was it West Ham? To be honest, I don't know when did he start against Newcastle? No, he came off the bench. I don't know. Was it West Ham he started his first game? West Ham away? I could be wrong, but either way he started. Nelson the same, Joe Willett the same, Matteo Guendouzi the same, who's now turned 20, but he was 19 a few weeks ago. So that's testament to us, our youth, and how we utilise youth, both Hayland and who we bring in players to become first team regulars and to make profit on our team is a difference maker. Because let's take this, look at Liverpool. Solanke's now at Bournemouth. They got him for a free. They got him on a free transfer. I could be wrong, but didn't they sell him for 15, 20? We've got to be able to do things like that, whether it's players that come through our academy or other people. We've got to really have foresight in terms of that, and our academy will save us. Some of the players I speak about on a regular basis and you lot listen to, they're not all going to make it at Arsenal. But if they can all have decent careers and become minimum 10 million plus players, every little helps sort of thing. I always give Chelsea as the example. You look at Chelsea with James, Tammy, Mount, players in and around the team, whatever youngster they said, if they decided F all these youngsters and Chelsea homegrown talents, we're going to sell them, they're bringing in bags, people. Think about it. Moving away from that though, and I'm sure many of you would be encouraged in relation to Saka's contract. While there's no news of a new deal on the horizon and that it's not signed, we're trying all we can. Apparently there's a 5-year contract on the deal. Apparently, according to Ornstein, we are pushing extremely hard to tie down Saka to a new 5-year deal. Further talks are planned this week, which is Monday, so hopefully that's happening. He's got 18 months left on his 3K a week deal. He's drawing interest from Munich, Liverpool, and just about any other reputable club because he's one of the best young players about. And I mean, a lot of German clubs, like Dortmund, if Dortmund were to offer him something, it could be, I don't know if he'd want to leave England, but you could go Dortmund, you see SANCHO, what they can do for you. It could be crazy, and Dortmund would make a lot of profit. And for us, it'd be an L. We lose a player who's going to have a great future here, whether it's left wing or left back. He's he's 18. Obviously, who knows if he'll spend his whole career here, but the way he's behaving, he's going to be a good asset. So if he ever decided he wanted to leave, we need to be bringing in some decent few bobs for that player, and we're not in a position to. We've got our top goal scorer, Aubameyang, running out of contract. We've got to probably, give or take, him and Martinelli, our most standout breakthrough young players. One of the young players that him and Martinelli in particular, we don't even care about their ages. Contracts running out. 2 senior members of the team. Maybe not because of age, but in terms of competency. If this was any other business and this was any other business looking at their assets, this would be described as nothing else other than suicide. So we need to fix up. Apparently the situation is being led with urgency by Huss Fahmy, who is our Director of Football Operations at the Emirates. And although Saka's negotiation position is sure to be strengthened with each impressive performance, there's optimism that the left-sided player will sign fresh terms. Now, I remember hearing a few months ago from someone that it was more or less a formality. His family want him to stay. He wants to stay. It's just a case of crossing I's, dotting T's. And obviously, for me, he should be aiming for... I'll be aiming for 50, 60k a week, really, because obviously he's going to, realistically, it's probably going to be 20, 30, and probably every year or two it'll be extended, but he should be aiming for 50 in my opinion. 50 is a respectable sum for him because he's a consistent player. Obviously, a lot of that's factored in rising performances, so you probably wouldn't have to give him a new deal for the next 2-3 years. But the Sakas, the Martinellis, the Torreiras, Guendouzi, if he fixes up his attitude, players like this, similar to Liverpool, if they're going to be key parts of our team, we need to recognise that renewing contracts is just as important as tactics or bringing man in. Van Dijk's, 26 to 28. He's in talks to get a new deal at Liverpool. Didn't they just sign him the other week? And Liverpool are very good at tying man down. It's almost a loser's game giving extended contracts and things, but you need to recognise this. And man like Saka, Martinelli, Torreira, these are the sort of man we need to tie down and constantly refresh their terms and whatnot, people. In terms of people coming into the club though, and we have been linked with Daley Blind, the 30-year-old who is recovering from an operation, I believe, in relation to his heart. You can see why he's linked with Arsenal. Apparently there's going to be an exodus of players at Ajax. A whole host of them players. Ziyech has already gone to Chelsea, but Neres, Sergio Dest, Van der Beek, all of them are being linked with moves. The goalie, everyone's being linked with moves. And Daley Blind, at 30 years of age, maybe he'll relish a return to the Premier League. He's played at Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world and the biggest club in English football. I'm sure he was there when they won the Europa League. The opportunity to come to Arsenal and be an experienced player could be something that's right up his street. I believe he's 30 or so years of age. Obviously, he's a very intelligent footballer. I don't necessarily want him, but he's an intelligent footballer. He's very smart. He's someone that, I don't know if he's got coaching ambitions, but he could end up being a coach. He can play as a left back, he can play in midfield, he can play at centre half. Whether it's a case of jack of all trades, master of none is another thing, but you can see why we're linked. For me, I'm not really on it because he's a decent player. He'll be a decent player in the squad. And again, disregard the form because Luiz has been superb, but how many years are they going to give him on a contract? Till 2021, 2022? And then you've had him, we're risking becoming a retirement home because you're bringing in him, Socrates, Mustafi. Well, Mustafi's contract's until 2021, but he's 27, so he's an exception. So I didn't really mean to say him, but you look at Luiz, Socrates, who else is there? There's a lot of couple players getting on a bit in the club, and you have to wonder what's the point getting these players in. Aubameyang's a good player, but he's over the hill in terms of ages. He's different because obviously he's scoring goals and things, and he's someone that we do need to tie down. But I don't. Yeah, and obviously he'd be a good option, but it just. I don't know, man. It just wouldn't. It'd be a good option in terms of the squad because he's a jack of all trades. But there's no point, really and truly. He'd be an experienced jack of all trades. He'd probably command respectable wages. He'd want. If I'm him, I want to be on at least 80, 100 odd sort of. Okay, anything from let's say 60 to 100. He's 30, so I'll probably want 2-year deal minimum. Tie me down to I'm 32, potentially 33. Because you got to think about these things. Is that the best for Arsenal? I'm not potentially sure. This could all just be was. I'm not too sure, people. But allegedly he's drawing interest not just from Arsenal but from a couple of clubs in England, and he's drawing interest in Italy and elsewhere. His contract is understood to have a low buyout clause, which again either is what probably entices Arsenal or where these rumours stem from. This is all courtesy of Ornstein as well, people. So it is what it is in that regards. We'll have to see in relation to Blind's, people. We'll really truly have to see if there's any truth in relation to Blind. I don't have anything more to speak about or carry on with, so I'm going to get out of here. On that note, it's always a pleasure speaking with you guys. DG, I'm out.